topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Chicago. I think I'm going to be in a lot of trouble with my producer because I think, yes, I am, because we do not have, I'm going to be talking for this show right now until about 5:25 Rebel when our expert comes on. You know, we've got about 10 cities now, and we have a lot of shows. They're all mostly live, and you can kind of get in trouble when you've got live shows versus recorded shows. So here I am, all worried that we're not going to have our expert here on time, and he's not even supposed to be here until 5:25 Eastern time. And it is a great topic. Folks, let me tell you something. If you have any kind of pain, you're not going to want to miss our show. The doctor that we have on, he's one of the top doctors in stem cell. And so many people have so many questions about stem cell. First of all, what it is. And I got to tell you, I have actually spoken to 3 or 4 people that had stem cell done who had major, mostly back pain, lower back pain. And stem cell actually cured them. Now, we're going to hear today why stem cell is such a powerful tool. The only problem, and I'm going to tell you up front, is it's not 100%, but you know, basically nothing is 100%, but it's not even 80%. But boy, I'm going to tell you something. If you're in pain and you've got a 60 to 70% chance of relieving that pain, I think most people are going to take the chance. They're learning more and more about stem cell. There's even doctors in Cancun now, because I got a call today from a doctor in Cancun that does stem cell that wants to have a show and try to get people in the United States to fly out to Cancun, make it a vacation, but then get the stem cell. So that's going to be in the second part of the show. I'm going to be waiting for Rebel for her to tell me when we've got the good doctor on. We've got Dr. Anwar. This is his first show. Sometimes the experts on their first show leave their mute on, or anyway, we have to kind of help walk them through it for the first time. Then again, maybe he will do just fine. But this afternoon's my fault, Rebel. I was freaking out going, where is he? And he's not supposed to be coming on till 5:25 Eastern time. Anyhow, we got a great show today, and I'm glad I have this time to talk to you, to educate you about Ask the Experts. You might have a business and would like to have your own show, folks, let me tell you something. Podcast is the best way to promote your business now. I had asked the experts on terrestrial radio for 10 years. And people kept telling me in the industry, you got to move over to podcast. And I'm going, but I like radio. People know radio. And some of the reasons they told me were that, first of all, a lot of the new electric cars aren't even going to have AM radio. And all the stations I was on, because it was talk radio, were AM radio stations. And they're telling me that a lot of the manufacturers, that for some reason, AM radio does not yoke with these electric cars. So that was one thing. And then I saw Michael Savage, who, when Rush Limbaugh had a show, Michael Savage had the second highest rated show behind Rush Limbaugh. He was on 600 stations across the country. And one day he announced that he's going to podcast and leaving all those listeners. And I went, how could he do something like that? He's got this huge audience, and it's hard to rebuild that up. Well, he was right. And it took him a very short period of time. And what he liked about podcast is there were not as many restraints on him as regular radio. Regular radio, you really have to watch what you say. If you say one bad thing, the station could be fined very heavily. So, and in my case, there's more people who listen to talk radio during the week than on weekends. But because the popularity of talk radio, popularity of talk was so big that all the big guys would come in, they'd swoop in and take away all the daily weekday time slots. So I was left with weekends, and weekends are just not anywhere near as strong as weekdays. So I was also stuck with weekdays, and a lot of the stations would cover local college football or basketball. Well, guess who would get knocked off the air if there was a game? Moi, it would be me. And there's just so much that I just finally one day said, you know what? I am going to move over to podcast. And we did a lot of searching. And I feel like I found the best of the best when it comes to podcasts. Because not only do we do the podcasts, but the company that we're with, as you can see if you're watching on TV, you can also get streaming TV. That was an extra. And you can get radio. Most of the podcast companies only offered podcasts. We're also with some really big companies like YouTube and iHeart, Spotify. And it makes such a big difference. And then the producers are absolutely incredible. I mean, I got to tell you, I've been doing this as my 12th year. And I got to tell you, Rebel, which is running the show right now, is incredible. It's amazing. It's amazing she'll come up with something that I forgot. And that makes for a great producer. So we moved the show over about a year ago. to W4CY, and it has been amazing. I guess that's the best. We've got better shows now. Like, for example, stem cell. It was really hard getting somebody to do a stem cell show that knows as much as our Dr. Anwar does about it. We were also able to get some really big markets like Los Angeles and, of course, Chicago and Houston and Dallas, and San Antonio, Miami, some really big markets. So this has all come together. And if you would like to do a show on Ask the Experts, we break it into 4 areas. We do health, legal, financial, and home improvement. I love home improvement because a lot of our demographics are homeowners, and we have a little bit older demographic. So health is a big area for us. Legal is always big, always. And then we've also got financial. And it's so if you're in any of those areas and you would like to do one 25-minute show a month, just one a month, we'll do it for 3 to 6 months. And I don't care what kind of voice you have. I know that sounds strange, radio going about a person's voice, but it's not about how your voice sounds. Used to be in the olden days. Now it's what information you're putting out. That is the most important thing. So let me give you a phone number to call if you're interested in doing a show. We have morning shows, and we also have, late, afternoon shows. And I'm sorry, sometimes I get a lot of emails all at one time, and some of them I do have to read. I sent on 424, but I'm lost.
Sorry, Steve was giving out the call-in number. If you would like to be an expert on the show, call him at 954-336-3767. That number again is 954-366-3767. If you'd like to be an expert on the show. The doctor's in the house, Steve.
Very good. See, I don't. She does. She reads my mind. We did get a email from our 425 Central Time guests, and they're actually kind of ready to come on now. And I just need to. This is not what you're supposed to do in radio. You're not supposed to have these gaps like that. But hey, we're live, and you have an opportunity to actually call in if you have a question for our guest, which is when we're not live, you don't have that opportunity. Let me just get this over to them. And sometimes we have this problem with a new expert. They don't quite understand the directions, though we give them incredible directions. So we are in the process of Dr. Anwar coming on, but listen, if you don't have a very big budget, you would like to come on our show, we would love to have you. I have been doing this for so long. I'm not an expert, but I sure know the questions that people have because they write in, and I must have probably worked on maybe 70 different topics of shows. So I want to get started a little bit earlier. We have Dr. Anwar with us, and let's give him a nice little welcome here. This is his first show, and I think this is going to be an incredible show, especially due to the subject matter. Here is, there, Dr. Anwar. How are you?
I am not Dr. Anwar.
What do you think you were?
I am Dr. Anwar's fill-in. I'm Sandy Visser. I'm Dr. Anwar's VP of Marketing. He is just finishing up his procedures for the day. So didn't want to keep everyone waiting.
I
I'll
got
get us
mixed
started,
up.
give you a little background.
Beautiful. I got mixed up. I'm thinking because we have your time, we have a 4:00 and a 4:25. And I had forgotten that yours was at 4:25, which it turned out fine. But I was freaking. I was like, "Where's Dr. Anwar? Where is he at?" And Sandy and I have been going back and forth since we've put this together. Sandy, I got to tell you, this is the first time we've actually got to go eye to eye. I am so excited about this show. We have received so many emails from people in the Chicago area, actually all over, not just wanting to know about stem cell. And it's probably more health questions are asked about stem cell. So we are really excited about this show. And with Dr. Anwar, there's so many people out there.
I love sharing the information. Honestly, it's exciting.
It's all sorts of pain. So tell us, while we're waiting for Dr. Anwar, now what kind of doctor is he?
He is anesthesiologist and interventional pain management specialist. So he really knows. He knows the body, he knows how it works, what causes pain, how to fix that pain. He's good. He's really good, I promise you.
I wonder if he likes, which we'll ask him, because he's used to doing blocks to stop pain, right? Are we somehow, I think, are we on the delay?
Well, the Pain Management Institute has been here for a little over. I can hear you okay.
Okay.
He's had the Pain Management Institute here for over 20 years. And that started as the traditional treatments. Mostly all of that was covered by insurances, the traditional cortisone injections, steroid, the nerve blocks, ablations. But, medicine changes, healthcare changes, the world changes. So regenerative therapies, that's the future. That's what we're focused on now. So he can do those things, but it's not typically the recommendation because there's so much better that we can offer now.
Do you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I know I've learned over the years that an anesthesiologist knows more about pain than any other type of doctor out there. I mean, you've got chiropractors, you've got, all types.
Sure, the
you've got
orthopedic. You have to know how it works.
Yes. So I'm so excited that even more excited to know that Dr. Anwar is a anesthesiologist. And I got to tell you, I'm telling people now, you've probably been told by other doctors, you're stuck with this pain. You're not going to be able to do anything about it. Stem cell could change that, couldn't it?
Absolutely. The days of medication and steroid injections are gone. People don't want surgery. They don't want all of those things. People don't want meds. They don't want to be cut. They don't want the rehab. Stem cells are not going to fix the solution overnight. It does take time, but what a better solution.
What areas of the body do you mostly see people coming in with for the stem cell?
We see a mix. Some people are finding us because they're looking for stem cell therapy. And then there are people that are just looking for pain management and realize what we can offer. And then they have a completely different outlook. So I will say, because of Google, because of our cell phones, because of society advocating for themselves more now, I think, than people did 5 or 10 years ago, does make my job a little bit easier because people are jumping online and doing research and finding things. And I've been here for about 2 years. When I first started, I did a lot of educating people for the first time. Whereas now I start to explain things and they're finishing my sentences. They've been online, they've done this research, and they're excited about it, as they should be.
I want to give you kudos, and I'm going to tell you why. I must have spoken to about 8 different doctors, some of them outside the area, about stem cell for Chicago. And I talked to a lot of assistants. I talked to some of the doctors. You were the first one to jump on this because after you said, you know what, Dr. Anwar wants to do this.
Really?
We got 4 other doctor assistants later, days, a week later, going, yeah, we've decided to do this. So I want to compliment you for seeing how much visibility that you're going to get out of this, and you jumped on it right away. So I want to give you kudos for you didn't drag your feet, you jumped on it, and we're so glad. I mean, we are really glad to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you found us. And, it's interesting that you point that out because a lot of patients have said, why don't more people do this? Why aren't there more physicians that are offering this? That's the same thing. Dr. Anwar jumped on this and said, I know this is the future. I know it, and I'm going to start doing it now.
That is wonderful. One of the things I'm going to be telling Dr. Anwar, I'm so mad at the insurance companies for not including this as part of the insurance package. I'm really upset with that.
And that's an entire topic in itself, which I typically don't go into, but I usually tell patients that's the biggest challenge. If it was covered, I can't imagine anyone saying, no, thanks, I don't want to do that.
Right.
But it is a challenge. Not everyone has the funds or the means. There's a lot of different things we do to try and help break up payments, different, financing options. And it really depends what you're doing. You might have one injection in your back, insurance covers part of the procedure, and you're just paying out of pocket for the PRP, the plasma, something like that. It could be, maybe several $100s. There are many more things higher and above that. It just depends what you're treating. It depends on your severity, your condition. It's not a one cut and dry cookie cutter treatment.
Right. Seems like a lot of the letters that we got from listeners and viewers were for low back pain. That seemed like it was the biggest pain area, low back pain.
Definitely, I'd say number 1, if not number 2, and that would be tied right there with knees and then hips. Yeah. But we also see a lot of times people come in and say, I've got this pain in my leg, or I've got this pain in my arm or my shoulder. Lo and behold, it's actually something spinal. And that's what's great about Dr. Anwar being able to diagnose so well is he knows what is causing it. You can treat your arm all day. It's not going to help if it's the nerve in your back.
So while we have, if you can notice, we're running your phone number down on the lower screen. Mm-hmm. But while we've got you on here, give everybody your phone number.
Yeah, absolutely. You would actually be reaching me directly at that number. It's 412-6192. If you just want to get more information, if you want to see if we can take your insurance to get started, any questions under the sun, happy to help. Like I said before, it's a lot of just educating. I don't ever feel like I am selling a product or pushing something that you don't need. I'm just telling you how it works. And naturally, people can't really think of a reason they don't want to do it. So I can actually start explaining a little bit, if you'd like, about the science of the stem cells, what they do, what their job is. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. So keep in mind, regenerative medicine is not just one product or one tissue. So think of food. You've got meat, you've got fruit, you've got vegetables, you have dairy. That's all food, but they're all very different. So you've got platelet-rich plasma, which is PRP. That's become much more popular over time. A lot of athletes you see doing that. We draw it from your own blood. So it spins apart in a centrifuge. The proteins, the platelets, all of those growth factors get concentrated down to a small area. So that's going to accelerate your own healing. You cut your arm, if it's not too bad, you don't really need to do anything. Your body will heal it. So you take all of that and put it in a small area. It's like a fertilizer. You can do amniotic fluid, which is the fluid from surrounding a baby in the sac. That is hundreds of growth factors. It really boosts that power of regeneration and healing. The highest form that we have right now is exosomes. And that's even a step further than the stem cells themselves, from umbilical cord tissue or Wharton's jelly, if you're familiar. So the exosomes are actually extracellular vesicles, meaning it's coming out of the cell. There's no DNA, there's no blood type to worry about. That's the communication center. So when you've got those exosomes in your body, they're circulating everywhere, telling your current cells to repair, to rejuvenate, and to regenerate more healthy tissue. So as you age, which obviously we all do.
We all do that.
Your cells will start to deteriorate. They slow down. They're not as good as they once were. And so they need someone to come in and say, hey, let's get going. Let's do this. And so those are the communication directors. They tell your cells what to do.
How long does it take? Say if I walk in and I've got lower back pain and you start treating me, how long does it take before I can start noticing a difference?
Some people will feel relief pretty early on, maybe week, couple weeks. It is not uncommon for it to be a few months. So we've even had a couple people say at about maybe the 2-3 month mark, say, this was a waste of money. It didn't do anything. This is baloney. And we tell them, I know it's hard to be patient. Just hang in there. And of course, a month or so later, they say, you're right. It was really hard to wait. I thought I wasted my money, but I do feel it now. And so my non-clinical explanation is they're very small. They have a lot of work to do.
And is it a treatment that they have to come in weekly or monthly?
We typically space it like 2 to 3 weeks apart. Doctor will normally do a set of 3 different injections. So they're not always the same. Not only patient to patient, but for a patient, those 3 injections are usually different so that they can work together and kind of compound on top of each other. So the injections don't take long at all. It's just a quick office visit. Usually you want to kind of take it easy that day. My best advice for everyone is don't do anything different. You don't need to bed rest. You don't need to do anything specifically different, but don't do more yet either. People get excited that they have pain relief. They get excited that they can do XYZ again. Don't overdo it just yet. You have to nurture it for a little time.
Is it painful?
Nope. He'll locally numb the area. So feeling that little pinch, but it's consider it like Novocaine. It hurts at first to go in, but then
Right.
you don't really feel it. Might be a little bit sore, but nothing a little ice or Tylenol doesn't help.
I think this is
So
so exciting.
one of my favorite parts about
Go ahead.
one of my favorite parts is that I tell people what stem cells do, what the regeneration does, makes my job easier and harder. Because I could say, yes, it helps everything. Well, maybe not exactly every single thing, but the science is the same. So whether you're putting it in a shoulder or a knee or infusing it into your bloodstream, the science is the same. So yes, it can help tons of different things. The hard part is that I could never list them all. So I don't ever want people to think that I'm saying stem cells are a blanket cure for everything. No matter what you have, I can help you. But essentially, that's the science. That's how they work.
Did Dr. Anwar ever tell you what made him decide to go into stem cell?
I've heard bits and pieces, but I'm not sure that it was really a eureka moment. I think just starting to hear more about it and was fascinated, and that led him to do more research. And there's many organizations now. He's in the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians. There's a couple other similar like cell network type organizations. So it's doctors around the country and world that really kind of stick together and learn from each other.
Tell people something that I don't know if this is so kosher or not, but there's not a lot of doctors yet that specialize in stem cell like Dr. Anwar. And because of that, there's these clinics that are outside the country that are trying to get people to come to them. I'm telling you, do not do that.
Their weather might be better.
Well, that's right. But I'm saying,
I
mean, you might need follow-up work. There's a lot of things. And I'm telling you, you want someone who's local. Bottom line, you don't want someone you got to fly to a different country.
No, and not just being local, but you want a physician, first of all.
Yeah.
If you have a chiropractor, that's awesome. They're not competitors. We work with a lot of other different specialties. But if that chiropractor is offering you stem cells or has someone that will come to their office to give the stem cells, I would not trust that. Yes. I mean, I don't know anyone personally that has done that or offers that. But, you know, one thing people really like about our office is we're a one location. We're small. So we know all of our patients. Our patients know mostly all of us. And doctor really cares. Yes, that should be a criteria of every physician. But I'm telling you, he's so down to earth. He cares about the patient. You will feel like you are being taken care of.
Where is your office located at?
So it's Chicago Stem Cell Therapy, but we're actually a suburb of Chicago. We're a little bit southwest. It's in Frankfort, Illinois. It's actually a really nice little town. I like that you don't have to battle the city traffic and figure out parking and all of that. So, I mean, even if you're in the city, it's easy to get to. We're just outside. And definitely weather's not as nice as the tropics, but we know what we're offering. We don't know what those other countries exactly are doing. We don't know their regulations. Yes. So I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people think they need to go there and they don't.
What other type of traditional treatments do you offer?
Well, actually, because he's still in procedures right now, what we do on Wednesdays, we have an additional few staff members that come in for those procedure days, is everything spinal. So neck, back, anything spine related. We have a vertebroplasty that was going on right now, and those do take a little bit longer. So if you've got compression fractures in your spine, in your vertebrae, he injects a little bit of bone cement, and that will hold it so that you don't have that domino effect above or below it with your other vertebrae. That's kind of a tried and true. We know that works. There's nothing that you need to regenerate there. It's cementing the fracture. He does a lot of nerve blocks. He can do the radio frequency ablation, spinal cord stimulators. That's a really intense procedure. I watched one once and I was in awe. For anyone that's not familiar, spinal cord stimulator is a small little, I hate to call it a box, little device that gets implanted with very thin wires that go up your spine. So once that is turned on, it gives you more of a tingling sensation, more of like a massage. So instead of your brain knowing that you feel pain, it thinks it just feels a little bit of a tingle or more of a massage sensation. So people that have like a crush injury or sometimes CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome, that's a really good option. So there are traditional treatments that we agree with. We don't need to fix what's not broken, but take that a step further. For all those epidurals or facet joint injections, instead of putting cortisone or lidocaine in, do the regenerative. We can offer PRP, amniotic, the exosomes. That result far surpasses anything traditional. Repair that area. Don't just temporarily mask or numb it.
We just got our first text we just received. Love the show. Love the show. This is the first time I caught you all. I love the subject. I am moving to the Chicago area from Houston, Texas. And I have had low back pain from an auto accident 2 years ago. And a chiropractor treated me with a laser. Do you know what that is? And do you do the same thing? Because it has worked for me.
Okay. I know that doctor is not a fan of lasers. It's nothing that we offer. I think there's a lot of treatments out there that some work for some people, some just don't. So yes. I can't really speak much to the lasers, but I'd say if it's working, that's great. But also, if that is working, imagine how much better something else might work too. But when you're here, look us up. Come visit.
Well, they're moving to Chicago, and this is what's so great about this type of show. I know there's people out there right now listening going, I thought I was stuck having to live with this pain for the rest of my life. And that's not really true anymore.
Exactly. No. And I can't tell you how many patients say, oh, I just don't go upstairs much anymore. I just can't garden anymore. Well, why are you accepting that?
Yes.
You have one life. You're just going to stop doing what you love doing. I've got a guy starting treatments soon, and he planned it so that he can be finished before he goes on his annual snowmobiling trip. He loves snowmobiling, and there's no reason he shouldn't be able to still do that.
I think it's so important that, and especially when you have an older audience like we do. I mean, we're about 40 plus. But just because other doctors haven't been able to heal your pain, you got to give Dr. Anwar a shot at it. That's so important.
I have heard patients say, no one else has asked me these questions, or no one has asked me this many questions, or pointed out something that I thought was not a big deal, but that's a big factor. So going back to the beginning, we were talking about him being anesthesiology. He just understands how the body works.
Yes.
You know what?
And I got it.
One other
You know,
thing you mentioned.
I've had pain management doctors in our other markets. I've had chiropractors. I've had orthopedic surgeons. But I got to tell you, when it comes to treating pain, it's always been the anesthesiologist who had the best results.
You know, people joke that they're women's favorite doctors, but we've got a lot of male patients that are pretty happy too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
The epidurals we do are not the same as someone having a baby. That was something I learned early on. You'll be able to walk out of here. We're not numbing you the waist down.
Do you get a lot of patients who've been in auto accidents?
Yes, that's what I was going to bring back up, that the one person had mentioned. The legal system is very complicated. I think a lot of us unfortunately know that. So whether someone is represented or not, we can help with the pain management and help you navigate. If it's like a workers' compensation, if you've got an adjuster or case manager that is following your case and approving things and saying what you can and can't do, great, we'll work with that, no problem. If it's something that's disputed or it is a personal injury, then most of the time there is an attorney involved, or we can help put you together with the right one. And they handle the legal side of everything, and then we do the clinical. We do the medical. We make sure work together with them so that everyone has the best outcome. So some offices hear work comp or auto or personal injury, and they think, no, thank you. Nope, not a problem. We've got tons of experience doing that. We have specialized staff and billing for that. So let us help take that headache off of it.
Okay, we just got our second text. This is great for show. Do you have x-ray facilities on property?
We've got one better. We have fluoroscopy, which is live x-ray. So if doctor wants to just take a quick look at something, he'll have them hop up on a table and see it. We are not radiologists that can read that report. So if it's a matter of diagnostic imaging, we'll still need to send you somewhere. But he has the live x-ray. So all of our stem cell injections are done under the fluoro, and then especially anything back related, just because it's so complex, so intricate.
What about, can you treat headaches?
Yeah. Actually, one of the more up and coming treatments is Botox. I can't tell you exactly where or exactly how, but placed in a certain manner, that's been shown to really help chronic migraines. And a lot of people think that they don't have enough or severe enough to qualify. Insurance can actually cover that, just depending on how often, or different factors. They have questionnaires for that. So yeah, definitely either Botox, or it could be something in your cervical spine that needs to be addressed.
Is there a consultation in the beginning?
Yes, we do a full physical evaluation. So once upon a time, we would do free consults, which a lot of places offer. We found that just wasn't the best procedure. A lot of people were coming in not really understanding or knowing what to expect, thought it was some, it wasn't working for both the patients and us. So if we can accept someone's health insurance, we'll bill them for that evaluation. From there, it just depends what doctor recommends. If it is something traditional that's covered, cool. But typically the recommendation will be the stem cell or the regenerative therapies. So we're really going to go in depth. We're going to find out what your history is, what you've tried, how long it has or hasn't worked. We need to uncover all the stones to really know what we're working with and how we can treat.
Sandy, I totally understand why Dr. Anwar has you. You are a great spokesperson to the doctor. I mean, this
Well,
is the
thank
first
you.
time I think you've done a show like this before. We're sorry we missed the doctor, but you're going to be back again with us next month.
Yeah.
Give me
Yes, we'll find a
give
day, and I
everybody-
will make sure it's a day that he will be on. So
give everybody your phone number and website address.
Just for the record, this means I'm the expert, right?
That makes you the expert.
Our website, super easy to remember. It's our name, ChicagoStemCellTherapy.com. Lots of good stuff on there.
And the phone number?
815-412-6192. Questions, appointments, we're here.
I am so glad that we have you. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We would have had 4 more calls. We will be giving all of them your phone number. Tell Dr. Anwar hello for us, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, I am so sorry. Sometimes
You don't have to
hard
apologize.
to predict, and even when we think
I
everything's
understand.
something comes up.
Hey, we're good.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Thank you, Sam.
hopefully plan better for next time.
Okay.
Thank you. This was great.
Thank you so much. And listen, folks, I'm telling you, if you've got that pain that it just won't go away, we're giving you now a choice now. And Dr. Anwar, listen, like any other doctor, he can't help 100%, but I'll bet you if you're still having problems, he's the greatest one to go to. We will be back with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Stay safe. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.